Marriage Equality, Mother's Day, Pilot, written by Jamie Pierce. Act 1, Fade in. Interior car day. Anthony, mid-30s, meticulous, efficient, is driving with his husband, Andrew, mid-30s, fastidious, somewhat prudish, in the passenger seat. They are a two-of-a-kind bookend pair. Anthony is focused on the road while Andrew stares out the window, contemplating until...
Should we adopt a baby?
And then what?
I'm not sure. Raise it? Love it?
Anthony shudders.
You're
right. Couldn't handle the chaos.
On the blessedly rare occasion our nieces and nephews do come to visit. As they tear through the house, we spend the entire time following close behind.
You refolding throw blankets, me sanitizing surfaces.
Now imagine a lifetime of that.
I see your point.
The gay adoption argument should be amended to exclude Virgos and hypochondriacs.
Sometimes I see kids and I think they're cute, but yes, mostly I see germs and infection and disease.
Where is this coming from anyway?
I don't know. Going to your mother's always compels me to make heteronormative life choices.
Welcome to my world, ages 0 through 25.
It's been 10 years, and I still feel like I'm making it up to her for becoming a vegetarian.
Yes, she was genuinely concerned for you on that one. We were going to concerned that you were going to starve at Thanksgiving.
She makes a big deal about having prepared something special for me that accommodates my lifestyle. Then she hands me a bowl of what she says is corn chowder, and it's mostly bacon.
It needs it, Andrew.
And I understand the subtext. Why should we all have to suffer through bland chowder just so you can further your liberal homosexual agenda?
She has a very God-made animal, so I should make pork chops' view of the world.
A perfectly valid argument for creationism.
Her pork chops are quite good.
She takes full credit for the fact that you're a professional chef.
True, but she humbly defers credit to my father for the fact that I'm gay.
My mother takes credit for me being a doctor, although she conveniently neglects to mention that I'm actually a dietitian.
Delusion is where both our mothers shine.
Wishful thinking that someday I'll discover a cure for her irritable bowel.
See, children just end up disappointing their parents, so why even bother?
Perhaps the fact that it's Mother's Day is eliciting some sort of previously unearthed maternal instinct.
Maybe you can channel those feelings into doing more housework.
Excuse me?
If you're feeling the urge to be domestic.
I never implied I wanted to be a housewife. If we were to have kids, I would be one of those career mothers who leans in.
I'm just saying we could really benefit from a better job with the ironing.
Honey, no matter how many wrinkles you eradicate from your fabrics, it will never change the fact that you failed to live up to your father's expectations.
Again, my point.
Speaking of wrinkles, no more doing laundry before we have sex.
Why not?
Because when the buzzer goes off, no matter what we are in the process of, you get up and fold it.
Fine, I won't put in a load until you do.
Inappropriate.
It would please my parents greatly if we were to have kids.
I don't want kids. But maybe a schnauzer.
Andrew catches Anthony glancing at his cell phone.
No, looking at the phone while driving. I'm not interested in dying. I'm too young, nor do I want to become a widower. Black washes me out.
I was just consulting the day's agenda.
You created an agenda for today? It's a 3-mother tour. First your parents, then my mom, and then my sisters.
I wonder if my dad is back from his hunting trip with Uncle Mike.
It's not just golf now. They've added hunting to the mix. Make sure they check all the boxes under retired Republican.
My dad kept beating Mike at golf, so they switched to something that doesn't require keeping score.
How about a book club?
My mother has one. Everyone's supposed to bring the themed hors d'oeuvre, and trust me, she's keeping score.
Cut to interior, Judy's house, kitchen, day. Anthony's mother, Judy, early 60s, thin, waspy matriarch, is at the stove preparing a meal. Anthony and Andrew enter with flowers.
Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day, Judy.
Judy goes to greet with delicate embraces and kisses on the cheek.
Oh, thank you, you two. Sweetie, you are so thin. You, not so much.
Judy laughs at what is sure to be the first in a series of affectionate jokes at Andrew's expense. Andrew forces a smile.
Actually, Anthony and I weigh exactly the same, give or take 5 pounds.
Well, it looks like either he gave it or you took it.
Mom, what are you cooking? It smells wonderful.
Just a roast.
Anthony heads to investigate, leaving Andrew and Judy to interact.
I like to think my son became a chef in some small infinitesimal part due to his mother's home cooking.
That is absolutely the case, Judy.
And then you take all the fun out of it by telling people to stop eating the good stuff.
No, my job is to encourage healthy choices.
But there's only so much quinoa a person can eat before they get anemic and need a little meat, don't you think? I mean, your professional opinion.
Well...
Oh, who do you think I am? I'm sure they taught you that in school. If not, I'd ask for my money back, and wouldn't that be quite the windfall? Speaking of meat, Tony, you have to help me.
It's Anthony, Mom.
I'll never get used to that. What's wrong with Tony?
As a chef, he was too concerned that Tony sounded too pizzeria.
Well, I put a lot of thought and care into naming my son. Unlike your mother who named your sister Andrea, and when you came along could only be bothered to change one letter.
That must explain my lifelong identity crisis.
Anthony returns.
Well, Anthony. I'm afraid there's nothing for Andrew to eat.
That's okay, Judy. I'm sure there's plenty outside the main course.
Well, there's salad.
And I saw a soup, right?
Yes, corn chowder.
Judy gives an exaggerated wink to Anthony.
See, no problem. Soup and salad.
Which one of us is the senior citizen here, dear?
Cut to interior Judy's dining room, moments later. Andrew, Anthony, and Judy sit around the dining table about to eat the meal Judy has prepared. Andrew goes to take some soup and pauses.
Is that pancetta?
It needs it, Andrew.
Andrew puts the spoon down and takes a swig of wine.
So, Mom, when does Dad get back?
Well, sweetie, your father is not coming back. He died.
Stunned silence.
I don't understand.
Well, of course I was going to tell you. I just didn't want to spoil our nice brunch.
Mom, what happened?
Your father had a heart attack in the woods. At least that's what they told me. I'm half convinced your Uncle Mike shot him. He'd be such a sore loser.
Wait, Dad is dead? Are you serious?
Andrew puts his hand on Anthony's shoulder.
Judy, are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. I mean, I knew this day would come. Your father was quite a bit older than me. I was a very young bride.
I'm sure you were lovely.
Were?
Mom, you're telling me my father has died? So now what?
Well, I think I'm going to do raclette for the wake. I was going to do fondue, but I'm not about to put another weapon in Uncle Mike's hand.
Of course, we can help with all the arrangements.
There's so much to do.
Anthony takes out his phone to create a to-do list.
Do we know where he's going to be buried?
He has to be cremated with his ashes sprinkled on the course of the club. That way he'll always be there, goading Uncle Mike.
Country club, ashes, rubbing Uncle Mike's face.
But not literally, dear.
Fine, what else? What about after the funeral, the future? You can't stay in this big house all by yourself.
Andrew's eyes widen, not liking the implication.
Oh, I'll be fine. If I get lonely, I can always stay with Aunt Joan.
You can't stand Aunt Joan.
I love my sister dearly. She's just a bit overweight. If anyone's due for a heart attack.
Mom, you can always come stay with us.
What the hell? Might as well get accustomed.
Andrew begins to eat the soup. Cut to interior car, day. Anthony and Andrew are back on the road. They are looking ahead, somewhat in shock.
We don't have to go to my mom's. I'm sure she'll understand.
No, let's at least drop off the flowers. I don't want more dead things to deal with today.
Plus, we should probably tell her the news in person. I'm not sure how she'll handle it.
She can get very emotional.
And stay there. She's like a leaky faucet.
She does tend to take on other people's burdens.
That's a nice way of saying she makes everything all about her.
Your words are accurate.
You and your mom are both taking this news rather well.
It's the Swiss German in us. We displace our feelings with passive-aggressive comments and excessive punctuality.
You have to get the emotions out somehow. Maybe that's why all the yodeling.
I think that's more the lederhosen. Anyway, it really pinches.
Allowing you time to grieve, I will hold off on discussing your invitation to have your mother come live with us.
Just stay with us, temporarily. Besides, she declined.
I imagine she's not wanting to put herself in a situation where there's a risk of walking in on a commandment being broken.
Like you making tofu burgers?
Cut to interior Stacy's house, living room, day. Anthony and Andrew enter the house, again with flowers. They are met by Andrew's mother, Stacy, late 60s, lachrymose, histrionic, partial to colorful scarves. She is overflowing with tissues and barely concealing her weeping. She makes a half-hearted attempt to hold it together.
Hi, boys.
Happy
Stacy breaks down into tears.
Mother's Day.
A new record.
I'm sorry. I promised I wouldn't do this. I wanted to be strong for you.
That's okay, Stacy.
Wait, Mom, did you already hear?
Yes, I got the text message. A text message! I hate technology. It has ruined everything. You should never have taught me how to use this thing.
Stacy retrieves her cell phone and hands it to Andrew.
I have no one to blame but myself.
What happened to just picking up and calling? Especially with news this earth-shattering.
Andrew looks at the phone and begins to read. Anthony moves to comfort Stacy.
This is difficult, I know.
Oh my God.
What? What does it say?
Andrew looks up from the phone, stunned.
It's from my sister, Andrea. She's getting a divorce.
What? Why?
Andrew looks at Anthony in disbelief, then quietly.
She's a lesbian.
Stacy lets out a sob. Fade out, end of Act 1. Act 2, fade in. Interior Stacy's house, day. Anthony and Andrew are alone in the living room, conferring on the latest development. Andrew is holding Stacy's cell phone as they consider the text message in question.
It actually says lesbian?
Yes. Apparently my sister has just come out of the closet via group text.
Are we copied on there?
It's to the whole family.
Including my mother?
Yep.
Oh, great. She'll consider this evidence of her superior parenting. She managed to raise only one gay child.
I'm sure my mother will allude to this as evidence she failed as a parent.
Stacy returns without subtlety from the elsewhere in the house.
I have failed as a parent.
Andrew and Anthony exchange a look and a shrug.
Why beat around the bush?
Anthony, once again, moves to comfort Stacy.
Of course not. You raised two amazing children.
Andrea being a lesbian is a complete surprise. She's married for 20 years, 2 kids.
And her hair's so long.
With Andrew, I always knew. It was obvious from the start.
Yeah, with Andrew, it's less coming out and more showing up.
What do you mean? You wouldn't necessarily know I was gay just by encountering me.
Maybe if you were asleep.
He wears a night mask.
Okay, well,
I would say to the outside world, my orientation is ambiguous.
Honey,
What?
are you under the impression your sexuality is somehow shrouded in mystery?
Okay, maybe when I was a kid and obsessed with Mary Poppins and would launch into supercalifragilistic in the accessories section of the department store. But that was just because I was inspired by all the umbrellas. I exercise more restraint nowadays.
On occasion.
Clearly, we are all in shock over the news today.
to say the least.
We need some time to adjust. Life is going to look a little different now. Andrea is a lesbian. Richard is dead.
Who's dead? Who's Richard?
Dick, my dad.
Sorry, I refuse to call him that.
We found out today that he had a heart attack.
Stacy finds her way with studied drama to her chaise in order to prevent a full collapse.
At least she's able to demonstrate proper use of a fainting couch.
This is just too much. Too much to take in all at once. Andrea is a lesbian. Dick is dead. My husband abandoned me.
In 1982,
But I really shouldn't be by myself right now. I cannot be held responsible for my actions.
Anthony sits down next to Stacy and puts his arm around her.
If you need to, you can always come stay with us.
please stop doing that.
Thanks for the offer. I asked your dad to come over.
My dad?
Well, not my dad.
Don't remind him of his dead father, sweetheart. I'm sorry, Anthony. Apparently, I also raised rude children. Rude, gay children.
Dad is coming to stay with you?
I needed someone who could fully sympathize with what I'm going through. He's already here, in the kitchen, making something to eat. I'll go get him.
Stacy rises from the couch and heads towards the kitchen, leaving Andrew and Anthony a moment to discuss.
Apparently my dad is in the kitchen.
No wonder he's being detained. You need the resourcefulness of MacGyver to construct a meal from your mother's fridge.
Lou! The boys are here. He understands and appreciates the gravity of the situation.
Suddenly Lou, late 60s, equal parts good old boy and curmudgeon, Andrew's father and Stacy's ex-husband, saunters through the kitchen door, gnawing on whatever paltry thing he was ultimately able to scavenge.
Hello, fellas.
Lou makes himself comfortable in a chair and Stacy perches on the arm of the chaise.
Hi, Lou.
Hi, Dad.
I assume you've heard the good news.
You may need to specify.
We finally got rid of that deadbeat.
Go on.
He's referring to your brother-in-law.
Oh, Dave. Yes, I assume he's out of the picture now that Andrea...
Is a badass lesbian, and you don't mess with those. Whatever it takes to get him out, I say.
Your father has never been overly fond of Dave.
Sue me if I want my daughter and grandchildren to have a man who actually provides for his family. She'd have to be both mother and father to those kids. No wonder she's become a lesbian. Efficiency, cut the middleman out.
So to speak.
I'm sorry if I don't see this as cause for celebration. I'm worried about the kids. Divorce can be so traumatic.
Dial down the drama, Stacy. We got divorced. Our kids turned out fine. Just kidding.
But your divorce wasn't typical.
How so?
I think we can all agree it never really took.
I spent 30 years looking for closure, but your father refuses to give it to me.
Stacy, you're constant battering proves you don't understand the meaning of the word closure.
There's other news, Dad. Anthony's father has passed away.
Oh, Anthony, I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Lou.
Tremendous loss. He was a really good golfer.
How's your mom holding up, Anthony?
I think she's okay. It's hard to tell.
It's our job as mothers to stay brave in the face of adversity. For our children.
If that's the case, our kids are screwed.
Cut 2. Interior car, late afternoon. Anthony and Andrew back in the car, growing ever more weary as the day progresses.
I pictured Mother's Day as consisting of the usual guilt trips and greeting cards. I was not anticipating these seismic life shifts.
There is a lot to process right now. Let's just make our final stop and then we can get home.
Wait, we're still going to Andrea's.
It's on the agenda. And you know I won't be able to sleep tonight without clearing it. Besides, I want to see her now in light of this new information.
Are you expecting her to have morphed into a different person?
No, but I imagine she's cut her hair by now, or is at least contemplating it.
Oh God, we need to hurry.
What do we say to her?
We could mention that our rental car is a Subaru, so we're already showing our support.
Yeah, but we opted out of the U-Haul hitch, so she probably won't be interested.
Too soon.
After a beat, in hushed tones.
Lesbian.
I know, it's so unnatural.
Cut 2. Interior, Andrea's house, entryway, day. The doorbell rings and Andrew's sister, Andrea, early 40s, solid, perhaps a bit slovenly, sharp contrast to the fussy Andrew, goes to answer.
Don't worry, the kids aren't here.
Andrea pivots and moves towards the main area of the house. Anthony and Andrew follow.
What do you mean? I love the kids.
I know you love them. Doesn't stop you from your mortal fear of them.
Andrea returns to what we assume was her previous activity of sitting on the couch in the living room.
I know I'm a bit of a germaphobe.
Anthony joins Andrea on the couch, as does Andrew, but not before performing a brief investigation of the seating area. Bed bugs?
I admit I can occasionally be irrational when it comes to my health.
That's an understatement. You've had every disease under the sun. Remember the time you caught MS? After watching the Lifetime intimate portrait of Terry Garr?
Oh my God, yes!
And then there was the time he got lupus.
Which is Latin for wolf.
He's the boy who cried lupus!
Anthony and Andrea share a laugh. Anthony becomes aware that they are ganging up and sweetly acknowledges Andrew.
But to be fair, he doesn't catch every disease.
No, only the ones that are degenerative, incurable, and fatal.
He's just hoping he'll be diagnosed with something undiscovered. Then they'll name it after him.
And then I'm immortal.
Way to work the system, bro.
Glad I could offer some levity on this profound day, even if it is at my expense.
Yeah, heard about your dad, Anthony. That's a bummer.
Thanks.
Been a big day for news.
I guess I should be grateful to Dick for making my bomb seem less explosive.
So we're going to acknowledge...
That I'm a lesbian? Happy to address the rumors. They're true.
Right.
But don't worry, I'm not going to stop wearing makeup or start wearing ugly shoes.
Anthony and Andrew suspend.
Or cut my hair.
I would never reduce the situation to stereotypes.
Anthony gives a sideways glance.
But I am going camping this weekend.
Fair enough.
Did you just come from Mom's? How'd she take it?
You know, the usual caterwauling.
That is why I sent a text.
A little impersonal, but considering the circumstances, I can't say I blame you.
Your dad was there too.
And let me guess, he wished good riddance to Dave.
They hesitate.
Hey, we have Dave to thank for this. He was the one, after 20 years of marriage, to say, honey, have you considered the possibility that maybe you're attracted to women?
I think he was probably just trying to introduce the concept of a three-way.
May I ask,
Have I inaugurated my lesbianism?
how did you know that's what I was going to say?
It's what everybody's thinking. And yes, I am seeing someone.
Oh, that's wonderful.
What's she like?
She's very different from me. We're not bookends like you two. For one, she's older.
Oh, like mom's age?
Ew, no, like maybe 10 years older. I just meant, in contrast to the two of you having been born apart, what is it?
23 days.
23 days.
Exactly.
Anthony is older, I'd like to point out.
And wiser.
Ours is a May-December romance.
She and I are both late in life lesbians. It's a thing.
So where are Dave and the kids?
They're staying with his mom. We thought it would be best for them to go there for a while. You know, take a minute.
Lick the wound.
Is that a lesbian reference?
Andrea, if you need, you can always come stay with us until things calm down.
Andrew visibly tenses.
Oh, Anthony, hell no.
I love you, sis.
Cut to interior car night. Anthony and Andrew are once again in the car heading home, trying to process the day's events. At first, they are silent. Then,
I can't believe my dad is dead.
I'm so sorry, honey.
Andrew takes Anthony's hand.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was prepared for this.
A moment to process.
I can't believe my sister is a lesbian.
That I was not prepared for.
Another moment.
Do you believe in heaven?
I'm not sure, I don't think so.
Yeah, me either.
I do know that going to church as a kid made me want to not go to heaven.
Why is that?
I just found church so boring, and they made heaven sound equally boring. Like church, every day.
Right. Very reverent. Everyone dressed conservatively.
Singing hymns.
And there's no running.
They contemplate.
Although hell sounds unpleasant.
Not to mention hot.
And humid. My hair would frizz.
So where do we go?
Thinking purgatory. Right there in the middle. More of a temperate climate, I would imagine. Dress is probably business casual, and unlike heaven, it's not so bright, because really it's all about lighting.
Amen.
The two husbands continue to drive toward an uncertain future together. Fade out. End pilot.